with Electrovox today. We're here with Daniel and Joey of Aesthetic Perfection. So Daniel, you recently spoke to Electrovox about your new album and your tour, so thank you for doing that.
My pleasure.
How are you guys finding the UK tour so far?
From my point of view, it's been pretty good. All things considered, we had some technical issues that have plagued us since the start, but other than that, the crowds and vibe overall has been fantastic.
He thinks that the technical issues are terrible, but I get really stoked when they happen, because then we play Nirvana songs and Papa Roach songs and just have a blast, and everyone loves it.
That's when the crowd gets like that little unique thing that no one else has seen, right? Yeah.
I think everybody likes it when the computer crashes. Everybody but me.
It's like some people have nightmares that they're like standing in front of their high school with no clothes on, and but some people, those are fantasies.
It's not my fantasy. I do my best to vamp, but I'm not really great at
Exhibitionist.
Well, now you have a circus clown in the band, so.
Yeah.
So tonight is obviously the last show of the UK. Without giving too much away, what can fans in Germany expect from your show?
I'm guessing the same thing that we've been giving the audiences here in the UK. I mean, we're not going to be changing things up too much. We're going to be tinkering with the set list, trying to mix it up as much as possible. But really, I think what we're about right now is just being the best musicians and performers that we can. We're kind of like dropping a lot of the theatrics and being just kind of focusing on the music.
Yeah, the core of everything.
You worked with Richard Krust of Rammstein on Gods and Gold, so can we possibly expect any more collaboration work with Rammstein as a whole, maybe, or Richard again in future?
I mean, I would love for that to happen. I was overjoyed that he agreed to do it. It was a very last minute thing, actually. The album had already been finished and mastered and was ready to go, into production. And then Richard delivered the guitar stems, and we're like, well, I guess we better accommodate. But that was something Joe set up, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Now that you've left behind sort of like the big record companies and you work for yourself under your own label of Close to Human Music, has anyone ever approached you to work under your label? Is there anyone at the moment? Or if anyone wanted to in future, would you consider that?
That's a lot of noises there.
I don't know what just.
And it's a beautiful phone case.
It's funny, I've actually been approached by a number of bands asking if I would be signing up-and-comers to the label. I mean, maybe sometime down the road that would be something that would be interesting to do, but I mainly founded the label just to be a vehicle for my own work. I did actually release Nyx's Voodoo single through Close to Human Music, but that was a song that I co-wrote and produced, so I kind of view it as kind of under the umbrella of my work. The thing is, there are only so many hours in the day. And booking the majority of your own tours and everything that goes into keeping a band afloat just takes really every waking moment that you have.
Yeah.
And so if I were to take on other bands, I would want to be able to give them the time that they deserve, and right now I just don't have that.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. For the fellow artists out there, can you recommend any sort of software programs you guys use to make your music?
I don't particularly endorse any music software. I mean, I personally use Logic, but I found that different people mesh better with different pieces of software. There are some people that just click with Ableton. There are some people that click with Cubase, or some people that click with Pro Tools, and you see all these people constantly arguing online about which production suite is better and blah blah blah, and it's literally all a matter of taste these days. So use what works for you and don't listen to what anybody else has to say.
Seen recently you've been very open about the meaning behind certain songs on Into Black, especially No Boy Is Loud. So for anyone listening or watching, going through a hard time with not being accepted or being pushed into a mold, do you have any advice you could probably give to them from experience?
I wish I did. This is all kind of new for me. I've always I don't want to say kept it a secret, but I've always been a bit modest about talking about what certain songs mean, mostly because I feel like it's up to the listener to kind of decide what songs mean for them. I think that's one of the greatest things about art is that it's so subjective. But for No Boys Allowed in particular, like, I just felt compelled to kind of tell a bit of the story behind it, just because I thought it would help me to actually finally talk about that stuff, because I hadn't ever talked about it really ever before.
Yeah, everyone needs an outlet, right?
Yeah, and even me, is, you know, I'm 36. It's something I haven't talked about even with my family. So, I think that for people that are going through similar things, you just stick with it. You know,
Keep strong.
Stay strong. Like that's all we really can do. Life's fucking hard, right?
Yeah, of course. For the both of you, what one concert, you know, have you been to, or one show have you been to that is most memorable for yourself in your life?
Oh my God.
So like your favourite band concert or something?
There's been so many different meal you ever had in your life. Or even...
Well, I mean, there are a couple of like defining moments that I had. So whether or not they were like the best concerts I'd ever been to, I don't know. But like, you know, they were really defining moments in my life. Was certainly seeing the Antichrist Superstar tour in '97, something like that. Front row, seeing Marilyn Manson, all, you know, getting covered in sweat and makeup and spit, because that's back when he had like the crowd spit on him and stuff, and you know, your front row, you're getting hit by all the loogies that are being hawked from the back. It was pretty amazing. My first rock concert ever was Korn with Limp Bizkit opening, and it was really funny because I thought they were terrible. Now I love Limp Bizkit, but it was fun. I thought they were so bad, and this was before they had like broken into the mainstream, and we were like hanging out at a Denny's or something afterwards, and the band had thrown out demo tapes, and some kid caught one and was like bragging about it. It's like, oh my God, I got Limp Bizkit's demo tape, and I was like, bands suck. They're not going to go anywhere. And then, like, you know, 6 months later, Faith came out, and I was eating my hat. Yeah, those were good ones.
When you said Marilyn Manson, it rang a bell really for me. Like, I was 14 years old, and my cousin was like, you're gonna go see this band Marilyn Manson with me, and I was like, what's that? And I had no idea, and he just walked out on stilts, dripping wet, with a Ouija board behind him, and I was scared. And that moment, I was like, this is fucking nuts. And then I got into, like, you know, Nine Inch Nails and everything like that. I was 14.
Fair enough.
I think it was a Portrait of American Family tour.
I wish I'd seen that tour.
But I asked a couple of people, yeah, what kind of questions would they ask you? And the interesting one that popped out was, if you ever had to make a track with a lot of samples from a certain film, which film would you pick? A certain person said that they'd suggest the film Franklin from 2008, if you've ever seen it.
I've not seen that.
Is that?
Neither have I.
Wait a minute. What is that about? Is that like about a mouse?
It's like a psychological thriller, apparently.
Okay, good.
But
Is that about a
I
mouse?
wasn't thinking of like Stuart Little or something.
that would be a great industrial remix.
Franklin. That's hard. I mean, I actually tend to sample old Twilight Zone a lot. That's my favorite because it's so like obscure, nobody can ever find it. So, happy hunting.
Now everybody's.
No, I mean happy hunting. The thing is, there are like what 150 episodes, and I just I always take just kind of like weird, out of context little snippets. So, I think I've only had like one person write me and say like, "Whoa, I was watching Twilight Zone on like Thanksgiving in America. They run Twilight Zone marathons on Thanksgiving." And they're like, "Oh, I caught that just while I was, you know, cooking or doing whatever with my family. I heard that sample from that song. I was like, that is random as hell." So.
Nice. Okay, how about you, Joe? Is there a film that you'd sample the most out?
Mine would probably be like The Little Mermaid or something. I'm a little weird.
An industrial Disney film would sound amazing. All right, well, thank you very much, guys. That's all the questions I've got, so thanks for joining me.
It was a pleasure.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming out.
Thanks.